we are looking super awesome in this episode. I got my homies with me, Kisharo, Jamie,
Real.
my man Kwame,
What's up, yo? What's going on?
and I want to get right into it. And I want to start by talking about relationships and get you guys' opinion on something. This is something that's a big deal to me, but it's two parts. So we're going to talk about this one thing, and then we're going to transition into a different aspect of relationship. So
Gotcha.
I want to hear you guys articulate, and at some point we probably have, I just forgot, but I want to hear you guys articulate this particular question, which is, how has your relationship or relationship you didn't have with your father, how has that shaped you in regard to the man you are right now? It can be a relationship you had or you didn't have. And if you guys want me to kick it off, I can. Or Jamie, I can pass it to you.
Yeah, thank you. Do you remember that you had us write I think you were writing a book, and you had me write a letter to my dad. I cussed his ass smooth out, but I give him credit. He did. So I was raised by my grandfather, my mother's father, and my actual father lives here in Durham. Jim Soligard. He owns a window tint business. First person I ever seen own a business. I don't know much about the man, and I give him credit for being an entrepreneur, but other than that, that's pretty much where it stops. So my relationship was not with him, but with my grandfather, and he taught me to be steadfast, to go for your goals, set goals, and then go for them, and to be, a man of the community. I will say I have had a lot of, I don't know, I did not like my father, because he left me with my stepfather. And I didn't like that nigga at all. I learned from that nigga what not to do.
Right.
He was on drugs real bad, but as an adult now, I see why. Because the times called for it. He didn't have a good education. Right. My stepfather didn't have a good education, so he had to work with his body. He had a lot of trauma himself.
Right.
And I learned, one, don't do drugs, hard drugs, and two, talk through your feelings and work it out.
Right.
He tried, but they were still, my mother and Tony Mitchell is his name. They were still very young,
right,
to be in a relationship with 3 children in the house. That's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm 47 now. I wouldn't know if I can handle that now.
Right.
Yeah.
So I give him credit for that, but I still, as a kid, I didn't like it. Now my father, they were too young, so that's the adult me saying, well, what did you expect from an 18-year-old and a 20-year-old? They ain't about to be nobody's parents.
Right.
So I was community raised. I was in Boy Scouts, so also in the church, and of course in sports. So with those father figures, I've had a lot of access to proper leadership in my small town in Red Springs, North Carolina. So I give all those men credit for raising me properly and making me the man that I am now. So to my father, I wish him well, but I don't care to know him, because it's 47 years later. I don't know. But rest in peace to my granddaddy, because he did a great job with me and my sisters and all of my cousins.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Respect. You mentioned a couple of things I can relate to too. But matter of fact, I'll say my comments. Kishara, what do you? Well,
go ahead. You asked me a question or to answer that?
Well, no, I was gonna shift. Well, no, go ahead. Yep.
I didn't have a relationship with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
He came in my life back into my life when I was 26, maybe 25.
Wow.
Somewhere around that time, before I got married, because I know Tawana said I need to meet your dad.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I had to set it up through my mom to have him come over so she could meet him. So at that time, he acted like everything was fine, because he was just
playing the game.
time he saw me, he was like, anything you want to know? Like, ask me, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. There was nothing I needed to know, you know what I mean, or wanted to know, to be honest, because I pretty much knew enough. So I was like, no, I'm good. I was like, this is more for my wife than for me. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So,
because you already had closure with it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's fair.
So I thought.
Okay.
I thought I had closure at that time. Until he passed away during COVID.
Right.
Mind you, in between that time of Tawana meeting him and him passing away during COVID, he started to, reach out more. We would talk here and there. Still was nothing consistent.
Gotcha.
So I was like, okay, cool, this is all right. I'll just see where it goes, not with no expectation. And it was just what it was. We talked here and there. Then during COVID, he passed away, and I didn't think it would affect me the way it did, but it did. So I thought I had closure went to one minute, but I didn't. So I basically had to end up making my own closure. Like at his funeral, it was kind of like once I went in, they let me go see him by myself. Like I didn't have a whole bunch of people around.
Right.
So when I went in and saw him, I got closure at that very moment. You know what I mean? Like
Gotcha.
I was good. Like I said my piece. Wasn't nothing bitter or anything, but I got to see him and I said what I need to say, and I walked out of there fine. I'm like free as a bird.
Right.
So the shaping part, I feel like the lack of him not being there shaped me to who I am. It made me work harder.
Right.
It made me feel like, I ain't gonna depend on nobody for nothing. Anything I do, I'm gonna do for myself.
Right.
Which is all to a fault in a sense, because now I'm at an age like you gotta learn how to ask for help because you can't do it all by yourself.
No, you can't.
You know what I mean? But because of him not being there, I had that mindset.
Right.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me. I don't need you to do nothing for me. I don't need nobody to do nothing for me.
Right.
So him not being there, that definitely shaped who I am today. Do I feel like I missed out on some things? Definitely, because I feel like maybe maybe, because you just never know, some things might not would have occurred in my life had he been there.
Fair.
Like my childhood trauma.
Right.
I don't know. It's always that what if.
Right.
So I don't know, but everything happened for a reason. And I can't look back on it. I can't blame nobody. It's like I am who I am. He was who he was. God rest his soul. And this is where I am. I'm the man who I am because of me.
That's
what I mean?
right.
Yeah. That's true.
Much respect, man. Absolutely. Army, how would you say?
Yeah. I had the fortune of my father being there. My dad was in the military. So it was times when he was out to sea. He was in the Navy specifically, but he was out to sea maybe like 3 months at a time, 4 months at a time. So he go on the 6-packs and be out for 6 months at a time and everything else. So there were, I guess, small moments. My mom kind of taking care of us when he was out to sea, but like he was still providing. He was still sending money, and then we come in, of course, back. So back home, whatever and stuff. He's there, and he did a lot of things, as far as introduction to sports and just kind of like the person that that taught the right from the wrong part, and
Right.
if you do certain stuff as far as like crime, and you gonna be things can lead you in that type of road, or just get somebody pregnant early, those type of things. He taught all those type of lessons and stuff. And I think when I was younger, I thought because he's very direct and very straightforward, and he don't sugarcoat. You know what I mean? So it can come off a little harsh if you see even how he's saying it, but his acting's always doing. Like he always provided. You need anything, not even just for me or my siblings or anything like that. Or it can be other family members and stuff too. I mean, to the point it'd be sometimes I think it's to a fault. Like he's a little too nice in that area.
Gotcha.
To me, because I'm like, I ain't doing that. I wouldn't do that.
Right.
But you know what I mean. So I might be a little bit more harsher in that way. But I see it as older I get, the more I'm like him. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Just
Yeah,
like-
as you should be.
Right.
Yeah, like I didn't really see it when I was like young. Like people, you like your dad, and I'm like, I didn't see that then. I mean, I see it now, of course, but then it was just like when he would be the one where it's time to like, oh, do you I want to do something with my friends and go spend at their house. And it's like he was like, nah, you ain't doing that. And I'm thinking he like the meanest person in the world. Like, why are you tripping? Yada yada yada. Or when you're not trying hard enough, or making you almost like that hard coach, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When they're saying something to you and you're like, yo, you can do this right. We'll do it over until you get it right.
Right.
Take your first step and put, and make sure that you do it the right way. You know what I mean? We're not half-assing anything, stuff like that. And you're like, oh man, here you go again. With
Here you
stuff.
go.
But I see it now that it adds value to what it is, because it's a way to do things, in my opinion. And I owe that to him. And then and like I said, he's still a good provider now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just even like for anything you need, whatever. Even not asking if something need, if you need hypothetically money, not necessarily me, because I don't come from money, but just for example, I need $300, but he gonna give you $500-$600. He gonna give you more than what you need. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the character to him. And like I said, he grew up with his dad, and he had a stepdad that he didn't care for and didn't like whatever and stuff and everything else. So maybe that propelled him to do the best that he think he could do. And and you kind of learn from assimilation and just trying to do what you can. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Right.
I thank him.
So that's awesome for me. And I remember when we first met, this was years ago, and you told me your dad was in the military. I was automatically thinking like, yo, I thought you were gonna be like, board in your back straight, just
super rigid.
yeah. So my experience, and the reason why I asked that question is because like I've been doing therapy for, since the pandemic, and I felt like I wanted to be in tune more with myself. But when I think back on how my relationship, the relationship I really didn't have, because my dad was in my life younger when I was younger, and then my dad and mom split. He remarried, and luckily, man, thank God, I had obviously older brothers,
Yeah.
older sister, but my mom's brothers, my uncles, they all stepped in, and they had their own different lives, but I was able to see one important thing in just how America created these situations that created a monster. So when you speak about your
Drugs.
stepdad, that was the lack of or not having access to the amenities in America, and it creates this monster, right?
Yeah.
The drinking and the drugs and things like that. So when you're younger, you're just like, damn, you're a mean person, or you're on drugs. And I'm not giving a crutch, but that's how they handled not having access to.
Sure stuff.
So, but I had an uncle who would say, he would tell me, he used to drink gin straight, Seagram's gin straight, and he used to be drinking it. And while he was drinking it, he would tell me, "Don't ever drink." And it had so many different meanings to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But ultimately, I learned from my dad how it affected me was what not to do and a person not to be, and always be a man and stand on what you say, regardless of whether you right or wrong. And I feel like as children, we didn't ask to be here. I didn't ask
No.
to come here, but I do feel like as a man, if you're gonna get a woman pregnant, take care of the responsibility because the child ain't got nothing to do with the relationship. And I think a lot of men treat the child or the children the way they feel about the parent, the woman.
Yeah.
I can see that.
You know what I'm saying?
I can see
So,
that.
and then also too, I'm glad I had that foundation on my mother's side because my dad remarried and had two other kids who I love. We're close to this day. But if you don't have a foundation in your house separate from that, you can look at them and envy them and think that they're getting everything you did not get. When a lot of times that ain't even the case. Just because the dad is in the house don't mean he's in the house emotionally.
That's true.
So when I think back, man, I think honestly, the reason why I value people who are in my orbit is because I feel like as men, that's what we should do. So a lot of who I am and how I am now, obviously my mom and my siblings and my uncles, but it's also what not to do, the kind of man not to be. And my dad was an optician, and I never got my eyes checked by my dad. Retired optician, right? And I love him. I love him to this day. But here's what's funny. My presence makes him uncomfortable. He doesn't know what to say or how to say it, right? But it is what it is. So to that point,
I got a question.
yeah, sure.
Do you said he don't know how to be around you, basically.
Right.
He's uncomfortable around you.
Right.
Do you know why? And have you ever felt like asking him or have you?
So, and that's a good question. I tried to have a conversation with him back in 2009, but and this is what made it kind of awkward for me. Because I feel like I come in peace. I'm not barking and all that stuff. But he found a way to elude certain questions. But I do remember one time having a conversation with him. He was just like, it was one of those things where it was like, man, I just, me and your mom split, and I just felt like, it kept going like that. Like he just,
So he was embarrassed.
right.
Okay.
Embarrassed and reflecting on. It's almost like you have an abortion, but the child lives and the child becomes successful. So how do you deal with that when you see this product that you
Created.
abandoned and created, abandoned? So I'm real talk. I guess it would be harder, even if I were to do something like that.
Right.
But But I don't make it any more difficult than what it is. I just show up. And to be honest,
You got to continue to do.
yeah,
Show up.
What does uncomfortability look like for him when you think that they make the thing? Because I see what the reasons they could be, but what is it that you think that he's uncomfortable being in your presence?
what, you mean the signs?
Yeah. Like what, like does he like this real short talk, or like, or is it like he, like
Yeah, it's gestures. Just the content of the conversations. He never asks anything about professionally what I've done.
Got you. And
You
you've
understand what
done
I'm
quite a
saying?
lot.
I've done a lot. I'm doing a
Doing a
lot.
lot.
He's heard,
Mm.
but he never
directly?
inquires.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because that takes him back to what he missed and what he didn't have a hand in, even from my mentality. Even when I got to NCCU, I never forget this. It was my freshman year. I couldn't play ball yet. Something popped off to where I needed like $2,000 quick. To be honest, I didn't need it from him. That's the truth. But I called him, and it was like pulling teeth. And I'm like, damn, I'm not calling for money for an abortion or bail money. I'm in school.
This is school money.
Right. And but before that, it had been years since I probably, did something. But my point is, at that point, I realized, I said, you know what? This is not, it ain't about him. This is about me. Like, let me just get away from that.
Yeah.
Because apparently he's stuck emotionally in a place that has absolutely nothing to do with me. I just showed up. I was just born. So, but yeah, but that's something he has to deal with. And it could be, and here's what I learned too. A lot of times, parents at some point, parents can be both envious and jealous of their children at some point.
Yeah, I think
That
it
is
happens.
true.
Yeah, I think it's more common than what people want to talk about.
People don't want to talk about
And
it.
it's uncomfortable because you feel like, like the person raised you or created you, whatever
Right.
the situation is, and then all of a sudden that, like how do your mom or your dad, whoever it is,
Right.
how they own kid.
Right.
That's a difficult conversation.
Right. And then if we go further, then we got to start having a conversation about emotional intelligence. Like at our age, how we handling life the same or differently from our parents when they were our age.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, so all right, so to that point, so one relationship to another. So in regard to that relationship, do you guys believe that marriage is for everyone? And do people really know their partner prior to marrying them in terms of relationships?
Mm-hmm.
You mean like their past relationships or just relationship in general? When we said like know them prior to.
Well, personally, everything about them. Let me give you an example. Let me be clear.
Okay.
So there are some folks who are married and don't know they're not privy to their partner's traumatic experiences. Like there may be some women who were gang raped, or some guys who were gang raped, or there may be some folks who were thieves back in the day.
Oh, I got you. So I
Or
follow you now.
so their darkest secrets. A lot of people are sleeping with people and don't know their darkest secrets. And I believe that's what makes us vulnerable. When you share that information, people get a chance to see what makes you tick. So if I was beaten as a child repeatedly and I were to get married, first of all, if I'm dating a chick and I'm serious about it, at some point she needs to know that.
Yeah.
So she can I'm not gonna make a decision for her. You decided this is what you want to get to. The other thing is, now she knows why I may say, hey, turn that TV show. I heard a triggering word, or I may get upset when she raises her voice and she thinks that's normal, right? I just feel like I just feel like that's let me back up. I should have said this first. So the divorce rate in America is between 45 and 50%. In our community, it's 42%. In 2024 alone, the divorce rate was 35%. In 1 year, in 12 months, all the black folks who got married, 34% were divorced or on their way to divorce. And obviously, there's a lot of it's a gumbo. There's a lot of reasons, but I'm thinking in terms of with how our moms and our dads, that relationship was transitioned to another committed relationship, and then you don't know the person really you're with, or you don't take the time to get to know them.
Right.
But how does that? Do you guys feel like marriage is for everyone? That's that. I guess that's my question.
I don't.
And why?
I don't think marriage is for everybody. Because I think some people just not meant to be married.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think some people are meant to be in relationships.
Right.
You know, and you can be in a long term relationship, but I think people have a lot of issues with actually committing to someone legally. I think people have issues with that. You know what I mean? Especially today. I think
Oh yeah.
people don't value marriage. How we were taught
Right.
and brought up, even though we have our own minds now as adults, but how
Right.
we were taught, people don't value that anymore. I think a lot of people get married for the wrong reasons. They get married for convenience. They get married for kids. They get married because they think their time is running out, and I need to hurry up and marry someone because everybody in my circle is getting married.
5 seconds
You
on the
know what I
clock.
mean?
5 seconds on the clock.
All that, and you don't get the time. You don't really get the time to get to know the person.
Yeah.
When you having all them other issues that you while you getting married.
Your shit ain't on top of her shit.
Yeah, like
Right.
that's not gonna work.
Right.
You're setting yourself up
Right.
to go down the wrong road.
Right.
And to the other point of everybody got secrets. Everybody don't care who you are.
Oh, yeah.
However, if you better commit yourself to somebody, certain things you need to come out and say, this happened to me, or I was affected by this because XYZ, because
Yeah.
that other person don't know why you might be the way that you are.
Right.
You know what I mean? Speaking for myself, like I know my childhood trauma, stuff that happened to me affected my affection toward my wife. You know what I mean? Like I'm not as affectionate as she would like me to be.
Right.
I've gotten better, but I have a long way to go. But had I never told her that, she would be looking like, what is this dude's problem?
Yeah.
And it we might be in a totally different space right now.
Absolutely.
Because that's something she needs. And I'm not able to give it to her.
Right.
But because she knows, it's still hard, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she knows, so it's a little bit more understanding to, okay, well, I understand why.
Right.
You know what I mean? So some
Right.
stuff you gotta tell the person that you with what's going on with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I think a lot of people just not honest
Right.
with, you know, with partners.
Right.
Yeah, I believe marriage is a young man's game, meaning that you should get married. If you're gonna get married, do it while you're young, maybe 35 and under, because I got married old and I feel like there's so much moving and changing I have to do that I'm not accustomed to. And it's hard because I've been doing it for 40, I got married at 43. So before that,
Yeah.
that's a lot of time to be yourself and now have to now conform. So it's just it's hard as hell, and to understand that she has her own stuff on top of my shit. So in today's time, you don't have to get married, because if you want a kid, you just go get one. You can go adopt, which is the smart thing to do. If you really want a child, or you just get some sperm and just raise a child, that's a thing. You could do that. But you're not gonna know your person all the way through. I mean, you can grow up with them now, because if it's a young man's game, you do get married young. Yeah, you'll get to know them. You'll grow up together, but you still have your trauma.
Yeah.
It's hard to be an American out here, man. Shit's going on in the black community, so it's a lot of shit going on.
And you never gonna know a person 100% anyway,
Right.
because you're going through different stages and levels in your life. Things gonna happen that you don't even know how you gonna respond to those things.
True.
Yeah.
So you never really know a person,
Right.
but you should know enough. You're gonna commit yourself to them, but you never gonna know.
It's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
You know what too? And I think some people never interrogate themselves and ask themselves this: what is their relational threshold? I think some people have a relational threshold, meaning I don't care how good the person is, men and women. I feel like after a certain amount of time, they're done with the relationship. They may be physically there, but they checked out emotionally, or they checked out physically. I mean spiritually. They're just not there. Meaning 3 to 5 years, that's as long as I can be with a person. Period, point blank.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I swear, I think that is some of the issue outside of commitment. But I think some people just have a relational threshold.
Expiration date.
Absolutely. In any relationship. That's just me.
Yeah. I look into the kind of what Charles said. I think like with marriage, you always going to be learning something about somebody. Like I think that's a forever going process. Like you said, it's different stages of your life, different things going on. So it's not like, okay, this is a person that, and everybody grow. You grow, your wife grow, people grow in general. So then just adapt in what those things are, and I guess and trying to communicate the best you can. I do think that there's certain things that you do have to know prior to going, because it does affect the relationship. Kind of basically the example that Shara had gave. I wasn't married to this person, but dating somebody before that I was serious with, and she had all kind of child trauma that I had no idea.
Man, that was wild.
Until after I found out the joint, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is why she was doing this,
Right.
and this was going on. And I mean, it probably wasn't easy for her to say it, so I can sympathize with what she's been through at the same time, but I was about to get in some mess, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
And
you
I had no idea that what it was, and I would have been,
Yeah.
I might have been a whole different person, you know, because
No, you would have been.
I know, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Like, so all that junk is important. To kind of like, you know, so I mean, I hate to say I dodged a bullet, but
Nigga, you dodged the bullet.
Is you crazy?
You would have had to
He dodged a
become.
machine gun.
He would have had to become somebody he didn't like in order to deal with that situation.
yeah.
Oh my God, you dodged all the bullets.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Machine gun.
And you're right, and you're definitely right. So, you know, so I say it's a blessing, you know, whatever the case may be, but also it makes you go and you learn from other situations.
Yeah.
So I'm asking the people that I feel like getting serious with, like, yo, you know, this happened, yada yada. Or why you don't talk
further?
Why you don't talk about this?
Do you have a daddy?
Yeah,
Does he live? Like, how
Yeah,
did that
for
work
real.
out?
yeah. I'm like, yo, and if you don't, like, what's going
shit.
on and stuff, like, almost like my Tawana was just like, let me meet your
your father.
and stuff like. I can kind of understand what it is, even if you don't rock with him, whatever else. Because I know it's still a piece of you, whether even if it's just DNA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right,
Health stuff, anything else. But yeah, I don't think marriage is for everybody, and I think some people just, like you said, don't want to. You can be a lifelong partner if that's what they want. Because if you don't have the commitment, it's easy to get out and walk in different separate ways. Versus if you're tired of papers, and now you know what I'm saying, and now you're trying to go through the divorce, and now you're talking about houses, and now you're talking about splitting the kids. Some people just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But also, I find value in marriage. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like, you know what I'm saying, that even with that going there, like if you got two like-minded people, they get their own personality, get their own different stuff, and they can respect my difference, I respect your differences. And we had a common goal of trying to grow together, grow a family together, and stuff like that. And I can say this now, I don't know what's gonna look 10 years from now, 15 years from now, but in the moment right now, I'm just like, okay, just thankful for what it is, and just hope God guides me, or guides us the best we can.
Right. So why do you guys think men and women pass on quality catches then?
Shit, past trauma.
Okay.
Because you're taking, I mean, I use the word trauma loosely, but a lot does have to do with past relationships. They already, you know, pickled you kumquat, as in like, I'm not that, I'm this.
Right.
But you think I am that
Right.
because of this person that you
You
met.
saw
and
something that looked similar to that last.
that's not
situation.
him.
Right.
That's not fair to, or that's not her.
A good
Either
point.
or,
That's
yeah.
a good point. And I think it works in the reverse too, where some women are groomed
Yeah.
to deal with a certain type of man, and then when they meet, or a man, deal with a certain kind of woman.
Yeah.
And when they meet somebody who's totally outside the box, that good behavior is foreign. Because
Right.
they've learned to deal with toxic so much. Or
You're
it can
waiting
be
for the,
right.
Yeah.
Or it can be, I think too, sometimes some folks are taught or don't see success a lot growing up or in relationships or a successful
True.
person. And then they may meet somebody who's total opposite. I just think some folks are they've learned a certain bandwidth. And when they meet something different, I think it's kind of
And
discouraging.
some people got unrealistic expectations. They come with all these expectations, whatever else. And I'm like, yo, like, you're not even what you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not even the level you want, and you had expectations for this guy or this girl, depends on what the situation is.
Right.
And you barely freaking hanging on by a thread yourself. Like, you I ain't saying get on your level, but at the same time, you know, you can't, in my opinion, overly ask for something that you're not able to do or willing to provide
Right.
in that relationship yourself. You know what I'm
Some
saying?
people want what they can't bring to the table.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Very true. Very true.
Wow.
Well, can I want to
Sure.
add something because since we're talking about relationships, I just want to. Well, were you done? Or you was
No,
Sorry.
yeah, it's like-
Keep
I
talking.
just want to throw this in real quick. So we're talking about relationships, right? Today's time is just very different. People view relationships differently. People are in different situations for whatever reason. So since we're talking about marriage, I'm wondering, like, what are y'all thoughts? Because I just heard this recently. I guess it's more common than we think because we're in a different age group, so we don't.
Right.
That's not where I think is. But I heard a thing called non-ethical monogamy. Basically, not so much what Neo is doing. You know, he's a polygamist, whatever. But he got these different girlfriends, or whatever. But it's so much. A lot of men and women are in this space now where you can have multiple relationships and not commit and be okay with it. Like you can have 3, 4, 5 different girlfriends, and they all know and y'all understand this is what it is, and be okay with it. You know what I mean? Some people like, no, that's like wrong. You can't do that. You know what I mean? But some people, that's a thing now. That's what they're doing. So I guess, how do y'all feel about that? Because what the dude said when I saw this, he said, "What's the difference in us having multiple relationships of the same sex? So why can't we do the same thing with the opposite sex?
Gotcha.
What's the difference?
Right.
Because if I can have multiple male friends and female friends, and it's fine, why can't I do that with somebody who I'm intimate with?"
Yeah. Well, societal norms.
But 4 or 5 like different girlfriends that he's having sex with, that's different than having 4 or 5 homeboys you just play
Yeah.
basketball
And it is,
with.
but here's what he was saying. He was like, if it's okay to have those type of
You can't
relationships
compare
normally,
the
why
two.
can't you do that? That
Because you're
was
not
his
even
reasoning.
factoring in.
I don't think
if-
it's
And they
Same
okay with it. And they okay with it. Not you doing it and they
as
don't
much as I
know.
would like for that to be a thing, because it makes sense. It makes sense on paper.
Right.
But then you have to deal with actual humans, and women do have these emotions.
Right.
Emotions, different
That's a
personalities.
real thing.
Right.
They ain't gonna allow that
And,
shit to last.
and then culturally, this is
especially
not
black
like
women.
this is not like Saudi where that's a thing. And in Saudi, they can actually marry their first cousins, right? Or you can have multiple women as long as you give each woman the exact same thing, right? But this is a culture where, think about it, where we have cheating is in America. The word cheating it resonates with relationships and school. And if nobody wants to be labeled a cheater, right? So I think culturally, black and white, all women in America are marriage is a thing. If you get married, that means you are the chosen one. You're selected. So I
Yeah.
think that's the goal at some point for all women. But I just think when it comes to like that type of relationship, you guys, me personally, if that's what makes you comfortable, do it.
But I don't think the marriage is a goal for all women though. I think some women don't even have that goal, especially more
Oh,
so
yeah.
now, you know.
Yeah.
Some, I mean, I think traditionally maybe that might be, but so now it's like totally.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm
Something
saying.
like that.
Yeah, I was
Because some
speaking
of
from
those,
tradition.
no, but I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Because some of these women now are saying, okay, like, we can date. You can date this one and that one. That's fine. And I might be the main chick or the second chick. I don't care. Because I don't want to be tied down to you. I
Gotcha.
just need you to give me what I need when I need it. Give me the time I want. I don't want the other stuff to come.
I think
You
that's
go
where we
with
are
it.
now. I just think that's where we are.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what I'm saying.
yeah.
I didn't realize this was a thing.
Right.
That's
But it's
more,
becoming more
right
common.
now. in
it's
this
more
moment.
common than what you think. I don't even think it's a younger generation. I think it's the generation.
Well, I just see more of them doing it. Maybe we don't talk
Because
about
they
it.
post everything online. That's why.
That's true.
You know
That's
what I'm
true,
saying? We have people our age doing it. They're probably not putting it out there like that. So because we see it doesn't mean it's not happening. And I think like I said, it could be different than you said. Polygamy. You're talking about, you know what I'm saying, people into swinging.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People what they call thruples and all this other stuff. Whatever it is they got going on.
Right.
I mean, if it works for those people, like, you know what I'm saying, who am I to judge what works? If y'all, this collective is happy with it,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, I can go ahead and say, okay, hopefully this is that and everything else, and if that's what you want to follow, that's fine too. I mean, I mean, as long as you ain't hurt nobody and y'all been upfront, whatever, I personally care and, you know, don't care, you know what I'm saying, as long as,
That's the thing. We don't care.
That part you just said, being upfront, I think, and then too, I think it eliminates a lot of heavy lifting for some folks. Like you ain't gotta you could just kind of do your thing and move around how you want to. You don't have to commit, and
You ain't gonna put me in no box.
right. And everybody, if everybody cool with it, ain't nobody in no box. I think it's just light. I think it's just, but
yeah, I think people not being honest about what's going on. And
That's
you
the
add,
problem.
and you add different dynamics going on. Like, I think if you're going with the neo part, whatever, and and I think from my understanding, I'm not following closely, but I think one of the baby moms had an issue, or ex-wife, whoever it was, had an issue with him bringing other women around their kids they share. To me, that's a different dynamic. You know what I'm saying?
That's a different dynamic.
Because at the end of the day, like, I kind of agree with her. Like, if that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing. But
Do it over there.
yeah, don't bring my kids
kids
into
into it.
Yeah,
that situation,
yeah.
whatever else. Like he trying to make it like, oh yeah, the other can be making his food and do other stuff like that. Like
right.
yeah, he's saying that junk, but I guarantee if it was the other way around, and she was until and had like 4 different men, and you know what I'm saying, around her kid, and get her back blown out like that, and the kids are like, he would have an issue with it. I would think.
I know you would.
So it's a
I
double
would think so,
standard,
too.
man. People be tripping, man.
Yeah. All right, fellas, we are at the end of the show. Any last thoughts? Any comments? Anybody? Or
Yeah, we gotta highlight you, brother.
oh,
Yeah,
this
you
You
jumping
know,
the shortcut.
damn, I must be
got
hungry.
this.
It's okay. It's good. So, our dopeness, for this final episode is none other than Mr. Jermaine Jones himself. So we want to make sure we highlight you, brother. So I'll start and say that, like I said, you started out as my barber.
Right.
Ended up one of my closest friends and now family. Very bright, very intelligent. Anything I need to know, when it comes to race or discrimination or just any cultural topic, I know you the guy I go to. You'll give me some good insight and good feedback to make me think about something I never thought about before. So I appreciate that and I value that. Always honest, with me. I appreciate that. Even if it's something I'm like, Jermaine, I don't know if I want to do that or not. But you still make me think about it. You know what I mean? It's because I didn't think about it. So like I said, I appreciate your honesty, your wealth of knowledge for health. I appreciate that. And just overall stand-up guy. I love you and your family. So,
Yeesh.
Jermaine.
Hey.
And you thought about Jamie, you thought about Jermaine. We was freaking
Exactly.
frat coming up. You saw one, you saw the other.
Bo and Luke do.
Yeah, we was the guys, man. I appreciate you bringing me into your family, taking me to Wide Awake, seeing the family hanging out, showing me what another family looks like. Not that I hadn't seen any other families, but your brothers and your sister, man, that's amazing people, your mom. I just appreciate how smart you are. And it made me feel good to know that I had a friend that's smart. Because you can have some,
Yeah.
less than, but you're very smart in your culture. And we had the same style. I tell you that much. You taught me how to dress too now. Because I didn't have a bunch of shoes and shit until
Okay.
it was like, no, we need to get those.
Yes.
We need to get those.
Oh yeah. I would say that. Yeah. I would say that.
Definitely.
We broke them all down. It was
Yeah, we
like,
did,
okay,
we
this is
did.
how we do it. So I appreciate you just being an inspiration for me and just something that I can say, I can look across and say, yeah, this is how it's supposed to be done. Because my homeboy's doing it, so therefore it should be done.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I echo what both Shar and Jimmy are saying in terms of just like, like just being really opposed to the culture, what's going on.
Yeah.
And like I said, you have a lot of like political and just different like, just conversations about what's going on, like personally and just like, just globally as well. And just, the insight that you bring to it and just, but also it's not just all stiff, stuffy like conversation. It's always funny and lighthearted and stuff too. We can joke about some of the things that we see, and what's happening around the world. This is like you say, even your insight as far as like sharing with me things I never done, like living abroad and stuff like that, and getting that type of information and learning about different cultures in terms of that going and stuff like that, and just what I'm saying, it's been there. Like I even like I said, helped me this summer. Driving that long damn ride from damn freaking Louisiana to damn freaking Maryland.
Man.
Yo, we got haze, but hey, you know what I'm saying?
We did.
We was in the rocket ship
It
the
felt
whole
like we
while.
was riding
Y'all
down.
better than me.
Comet.
Yo, that
Rocket
jump was
ship.
crazy, but
Yeah.
I still enjoyed like even a situation where it might have been uncomfortable, and like I said, you didn't have to do it, but I appreciate it because I needed the help in that time. You know what I'm saying? To do what I need to do. So, salute, man. I thank you so much, man. Like I said, I love all y'all, man. So,
And he always know where to find a good steak and some salmon.
yeah.
Always.
So I need to be on top of that, and a
Yeah.
burger too.
And a burger.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Don't forget about that.
Man, listen, I appreciate all that. You guys know I feel the same way. This is something I feel like we did together. I can honestly say when it's all said and done, we're 60, 75, 80 years old, however old God allows us to live. We can look back and say we've done something a lot of people haven't done, like together.
Yeah.
From the meetings,
Consistent.
consistently, together, from the meetings to the text group, group text and all that good stuff, man. Coming up with content. So I appreciate that. Love y'all too, man.
Yeah,
All right.
We're going to toast
And we're going to
to
toast.
this. Yeah.
Absolutely. To
We
this
have done a
last
lot.
episode.
We have done a lot together.
Yeah,
And it
so-
doesn't, that does not stop here.
Yeah, and we put in like, you know what I'm saying?
First of all,
See? I learn something all the time. What I didn't want to happen happened.
Yeah, and we put like a bold, you know what I'm saying, bolder this.
slant it.
It's been like, oh yeah, thank you.
What happened?
It's been, been like,
Put it like that.
it's been like 49,
Okay.
roughly like,
Yeah.
sorry,
You're good.
49, roughly like 50 episodes that we did this, like you said, doing a podcast. Not being professionals in this situation, whatever, but just doing it during COVID and just trying to like the way to bond with each other, man, whatever, and just to be that consistent. Even though we had a 2-year break, we just wanted to end this, or at least put a period on it. Like I don't know, if,
Yeah.
something's gonna
So let
happen,
me say
whatever.
this to
Yeah,
say
let's
that
be clear.
Oh yeah, feel me.
to the people, this is not goodbye forever. This is goodbye for now. Because we all have our different things that we are doing in life. So you will see us again, but we just wanted to end it real nicely with these episodes to give you guys something to think about. Hopefully you got something from our episodes, even if it was just entertainment, but the whole purpose of this was for us wanting to come together and bond at the stages we are in life now because we all was doing different things, but also fun, entertainment, and just for people to take away something, and hopefully you did. But again, this is not goodbye forever. This is goodbye for now. So I want to say I love y'all guys. 4 times dope forever.
Salute.
And until the next time.
Cheers. Peace.